To put it another way, Canada recently implemented one of the boldest trade policies in recent history. A $214 billion power play could have reshuffled the entire world deck. Despite the US's lack of preparation, the entire world is now watching. What effects will this have on future trade? Will America strike back, or is a new leader emerging? Kindly leave a comment with your thoughts. Sincerely, I'm intrigued. If you also thought this was as crazy as I did, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. We're just getting started. Alright, let's take a quick look back to ensure that everything makes sense. For many years, the United States has been the dominant force in global trade. Think of it as the leader of a successful team, always the first choice, always calling the plays. Countries like China, Mexico, Japan, and Germany, they have all contributed significantly to the American trade circle. Billions of dollars come in and go out every year. In 2023 alone, US trade with its top 5 partners was close to $1.8 trillion. It's not a minor adjustment. That's economic muscle. Yes, there have been highs and lows, trade wars, supply chain modifications, and tariffs. Despite all of that chaos, the United States persisted in carving the turkey in the middle of the table, but few people were noticing the recent changes. You see, while the US tightened regulations, cancelled trade talks, and dealt with domestic political unrest, Canada was out there taking strategic, prudent, and quiet actions. The media doesn't cover such acts until they happen. And now, after spending $214 billion, we are seeing one of America's closest allies take control of trade agreements that were previously called the United States. How on earth did we get here? How did Canada, a normally peaceful neighbor, accomplish such a significant power shift in global trade? Hold on tight, because the following section gets really interesting. Okay, so this is what actually took place. Canada recently signed the Pan-Atlantic Trade Compact, a massive $214 billion agreement that brings together several significant players from around the globe: Brazil, Germany, South Korea, Japan, and even some emerging countries like South Africa and Vietnam. That lineup is serious indeed. However, this isn't your normal handshake between import and export. It's a big deal. We're discussing lifting tariffs on AI software, aerospace components, sustainable energy technology, rare earth minerals, pharmaceuticals, and get this, agricultural goods. Instead of importing soybeans, lithium, or smart chips from the US, these countries are now securing their orders with Canada for the next 20 years. Yes, there is no tariff friction for 20 years, trade is stable, and supply chains are guaranteed. Getting a VIP corporate subscription to half of the world economy would be equivalent to that. The most ridiculous part is that the United States was not even invited, so they were not there when it all took place. This transaction was also not random. It was being discussed behind closed doors for months, while everyone else watched the usual trade drama between the United States and China play out. Meanwhile, Canada was securing green incentives, establishing new digital trade standards, offering tax benefits, and building trust, all of which contribute to the agreement's continued existence. Here's a little cherry on top. The $214 billion amount may just be the start of this agreement, which is designed to expand over time to accommodate new countries, especially US allies. This is more than just a trading win. Washington is closely monitoring this shift in strategy. So, just who is involved in this deal with Canada? Let's dissect this, since it's not just a contract that several unrelated countries are signing. The United States used to be near some of these important players. First up is Germany. Historically, one of America's most potent allies, especially when it comes to technology and auto manufacturing. But after years of economic conflict and threats of US tariffs, Germany has been looking for greater stability. With the availability of raw materials, clean energy incentives, and fewer political restrictions, Canada entered the market. Germany said yes. Next up is Japan. It's a large one. Japan has long been a vital technology and innovation partner of the US, especially in the semiconductor sector. On the other hand, this Canadian agreement offers them better intellectual property rights, quicker supply chain agreements, and collaborative investment in AI research. For Japan, it is clear. Brazil is a major player in both agriculture and energy. Canada's emphasis on global food security and green exports is a perfect match with Brazil. The two nations are already collaborating on climate technology and biofuel projects. South Korea is another strategic powerhouse. They are accepting the agreement's provisions pertaining to digital infrastructure and electronics. Consider telecom, batteries, semiconductors, and all the other good things. The next wildcard is Vietnam, abundant in resources, growing swiftly, and ready for growth. They view this agreement as a chance to gain recognition abroad without having to navigate the complex politics of US-based alliances. The absurd thing is that most of these countries have long-standing commercial ties with the United States. Instead of waiting for the next trade summit or renegotiated treaty in Washington, they are putting their chances on Canada, which, let's face it, hasn't historically been seen as a strong player on this scale. This is the reason this change is so important. There are other factors besides money. It is related to trust, stability, and future prospects. So how did this happen? Why would the United States suddenly turn to Canada as one of its oldest trading partners? But it's more than one thing. While the US was distracted, Canada quietly took advantage of a combination of circumstances. Let's start with the obvious. The United States' trade policy has been inconsistent lately. Unpredictable diplomacy, political stalemate, and fluctuating tariffs made partners uncomfortable. One administration signs an agreement, and the next one rips it to shreds. Countries that are trying to make long-term plans suffer from this unpredictability. Meanwhile, Canada was out here looking at things from a longer perspective. The first major advantage is resources. Canada may have some of the world's largest reserves of rare earth minerals, which are crucial for the development of satellites, batteries, electric cars, semiconductors, and more. Furthermore, while the US was still involved in a supply chain dispute with China, Canada was offering ethical, clean, and reliable sourcing. For countries attempting to steer clear of high-risk suppliers, this is a significant win. Second is political stability. When it comes to trade, Canada's government has been far more stable, despite its imperfections. No whiplash or sudden policy U-turns. Because of this, foreign partners felt comfortable making long-term commitments without fear of them being ruined after 4 years. Third, smart immigration and innovation policies. Canada has been investing heavily in high-skilled immigrants, AI development, and green technology. This suggests that their employees are growing in knowledge and proficiency, a clear signal to trading partners who wish to invest in future-ready economies. Oh, and the majority of people are unaware of this fact. According to the World Economic Forum, Canada ranked in the top 5 nations globally for trade credibility and economic openness as of 2024. That's not marketing. That is based on real performance metrics. As a result, while the US was focusing inward, tightening up, and defending its own base, Canada opened its doors wider, and the world entered. So what does this actually mean for America? It's a harsh wake-up call, to put it briefly. Let's talk about money first. When countries like Brazil, Japan, and Germany start moving a sizable portion of their trade to Canada, it's not just a loss on paper. The United States loses out on real income from exports, investment, and influence. Think about the agriculture industry. If Canada were to become the new preferred supplier for soy, cattle, and grains, especially in Europe and Asia, billions of dollars that had previously poured into states like Iowa, Kansas, and Nebraska would suddenly be heading north. Then there is technology. If countries like South Korea and Japan start choosing Canadian businesses for semiconductor supply, AI development, or green infrastructure, the future of innovation will take place in a very different place. And who is responsible for it? US companies lose their clout. There is less demand for US workers. It places the US in a challenging political situation. If long-standing allies suddenly decide to do more business with Canada, especially long-term agreements, it sends a subtle but powerful message. We're not sure if we can rely on you anymore. The worst is yet to come. These deals aren't meant to be permanent. By the time the US tries to restore those ties, it might be too late because they have been established for decades. Being left out of a global economy means more than just losing money. It signifies a decrease in momentum. Given how important this is to Canada, let's change the viewpoint now. First off, this $214 billion deal gives Canada leverage on the global stage, something it hasn't had in a long time. We are talking about instant credibility. Canada is no longer just the polite middleman in North American trade. It is becoming a key supplier and strategic partner for some of the world's biggest economies. Preliminary OECD estimates suggest that this agreement could boost Canada's GDP by up to 4% over the next 3 years. If you found this information insightful and want to stay updated on the latest developments in global trade, make sure to like and subscribe. By joining our community, you'll gain access to in-depth analysis, expert commentary, and breaking news on the trends shaping the world economy. Don't miss out on future updates. Your support helps us bring you the stories that matter most. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more engaging content.